So I just wanted to make a video on how I make my hairpin legs. I use 5/16 round stock. A lot of the legs that you buy online are 3/8. There's really not that much difference in it. 5/16, 3/8. So, and I use the 5/16 because I have a ton of this on hand. And it holds the weight really well. There's no issues with weight and the legs. And if I think that there may be issues with the weight and the legs, like on a dining room table or coffee table that's gonna have heavy legs, I just make a 3-pin leg. And these things hold ridiculous amounts of weight. But it's pretty simple. I cut it to the length that I need. And then I've got 2 pieces of square stock, or not square stock, but square tube. And just kind of find the middle, and I chuck a pipe up into my vise and simply just force it around and then close it shut. Pull it out, you have a hairpin leg. Now, of course, this one's off because it was just for demonstration. But I've also got a jig that I use to size it accordingly, so both legs are equal. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So this is my jig. Super simple. I've got a Centerline. It's a piece of plywood, and I put screws in at whatever length I use. Those screws are all the most common lengths that I make. And then I have a piece of angle iron here on the end, so I have something to cut against. And these 2 screws, that's how wide my bracket is that the leg is going to fit on. And you simply just take your leg, find your bracket, or find your length, and screws hold it, and take your grinder, nip it off right there, and you have your length. And your legs are even on both sides, because this line is 90 degrees from this back plate. And like this leg that I'm fixing to do, it's a lot longer. Set it in. There's the length. I can spread it out. I'll nip that off, and then I'll weld it onto my bracket. And that's it. I have one welded bracket. And this bracket's a little bit smaller than what I normally use. I generally like to use the big 5.5, 6-inch brackets. But for this application, this is the one that fits it, so that's what I used. And I have a jig here set up. It's just a piece of angle iron set, and then when the bracket goes into it, it fits into the shape of the angle. And where I set the leg on the bracket, it gives it a 10-degree angle. So the leg doesn't stand straight up, puts out a little bit of an angle, looks better, and it makes it a little more stable. The brackets that I normally use, well, I always use now, I used to make all my brackets by hand, and it would take me an extra hour or so to knock out the brackets, drilling and then tapering the holes and everything like that. I can buy these at Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever, Ace Hardware, and I get perfect spacing because I set the legs down into the center holes. And since I'm not wasting an hour or so making my brackets, I can sell my legs cheaper. And there we have it. 3 legs done, well, 4 legs done, considering I did the 29-inch leg. But 3 legs done. These are 16s in under a half an hour. There's only 3 because it's for a round spool top now table. We're working on the spool top. I don't want all this writing and stuff on here. And it's pretty rough and some of the boards are uneven. So I'm going to sand it down. I'm not going to use palm sand or anything. I'm going to chuck a sanding pad up into my grinder, get it all knocked down, and then I will palm sand it. So we'll get that going and I'll show you. Alright, so I got my sanding pad chucked up in my grinder and I'm just going to go to work. Well, that's another thing too. I should have mentioned that there's staples and nails all throughout this thing, all the way around where they put this thing together, and sanding it with that knocks them down pretty smooth to where you're not going to cut yourself or anything like that. And now I'll go get the palm sander and give it a quick palm sand. Oh yeah, and I've got to sand the inside to that too. I need the drill. And I don't sand it too terribly much because I don't want to take away all the character. Basically just get it where it feels smooth and feels good. All I do to this is, unless it's requested by the customer, I just rub oil on it, and like dark walnut oil, and leave it at that. You know, I may put a coat of lacquer on it as well, unless it's a special request to paint it or color stain. This is it, because I didn't like all the writing, but I do like some of it showing through and stuff like that. Just more character, more age on it. So I really wish I had worn my dust mask when I was sanding that. I have a nose full of sawdust now. But yeah, this is just Danish oil, dark walnut. I apply it generously. Alright, so there's the finished top. I stained the edges off camera because it was a pain in the butt to hold it and steady it and get it in shot and stuff like that. So I went ahead and did that off camera, and I touched up the centers, holes in that hole a little bit off camera. But there it is. It's still wet right now. I gotta let it dry and put the legs on it, and spool top table's done. Alright, so the oil is dry and we're just gonna pop some legs on now. I've already got them spaced 120 from each other. And there we go. One spool top table with hairpin legs. I've done several of these over the years. This is the most popular one that I've done, style. I've done some with rebar hairpin legs, 3-pin legs, all different styles. But this one here is the most popular one. So yeah, this one's wrapped up, ready to go in the store, ready to be sold. If you guys like this video, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you and have a good night.